Hi everyone, good morning. On behalf of the Bisexual Research Group, I'd just like to welcome everyone to today's conference. Unfortunately, due to time zone differences, not all of the organising team can be here to welcome you this morning. So we've recorded a short video where we just introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about the Bisexual Research Group, which Lucia will now share.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Second International Bisexuality Research Conference. We at the Bisexual Research Group wanted to take a quick moment to introduce ourselves before we kick off. My name is Tralli Parr, my pronouns are she, they, and I am the director of the Bisexual Research Group. I am coming to you today from Canada, where I am pursuing my PhD at the University of Toronto. My research looks at the experiences of bi+ people in leadership roles and in the workplace, and I'm also a course director at York University teaching in the area of gender, work, and leadership. I would like to extend my thanks to all of the members of the Bisexual Research Group leadership team, Ellen, Derek, Lucia, and Aurelio, for all of your hard work these past few months, and as well, of course, to our over 60 presenters and all of you in the audience who made today a reality. Thank you. And happy belated Bi Visibility Day and Bi Week to everyone, and I look forward to seeing you throughout the day.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellen Davenport-Pleasance and I use she, her pronouns. I'm a PhD student at UCL and my research focuses on bisexual plus mother families. I'm also, of course, a member of the Bisexual Research Group leadership team, so you will be seeing an awful lot of my face today, so I apologise for that in advance. I'm really looking forward to the programme of speakers that we have coming up today and the fact that we have activists, poets, creative presentations and of course a lot of researchers speaking about all things bi+. So I'm really looking forward to the day of events that we have planned, and I look forward to seeing all of you in lots of the sessions.
Hi there, my name is Derek Solbacher and I'm on the leadership team of the Bisexual Research Group. I'm a lecturer of data science in the United States, and my research looks into data for social good endeavors. Here on the leadership team, I'm the self-proclaimed tech guy handling the accounts such as Zoom, Discord, and Slack. I'm really looking forward to the diversity of topics and discussions that you all have, and I too wish to welcome you to our Bisexuality Research Conference.
Hello, my name is Lucia Tralli, and I am part of the Bisexual Research Group leadership team. I serve as adjunct faculty at the American University of Rome in Italy, where I teach courses around visual culture, media, and gender. My main research interests are at the intersections between media studies and gender studies, with a particular focus on grassroots media practices and bisexual representation in movies and TV shows. I'm really looking forward to hear all of your diverse and compelling contributions to this day. So welcome to the International Bisexuality Research Conference 2022.
Hello, Aurelio Castro here. I'm on the leadership team of the Bisexual Research Group. I'm a social psychologist and activist from Italy, working on the social construction of sexual orientation, masculinities, non-monogamies, and role-playing games. Here on the leadership team, I focus on activism and monthly research group discussion. I look forward to meet you all and hear your amazing story. I wish to welcome you to the International Bisexuality Research Conference.
Thank you for sharing that, Lucia. So on behalf of all of us at the Bisexual Research Group, I would like to officially welcome everyone to the second ever International Bisexuality Research Conference. As you can see, we are an international group of 5 people and we've been working really hard to put together today's conference. So for those of you who have not been involved in the Bisexual Research Group before, I'd just like to tell you a little bit more about what we do. The Bisexual Research Group is an international organisation and we're working to better understand the bisexual, pansexual, polysexual, plurisexual and queer experience. We aim to facilitate the sharing of knowledge related to bisexual plus research by connecting researchers, activists, artists and community members across the globe and across disciplinary fields. Through our events, we aim to explore, analyse and challenge the ways in which bisexuality shapes people's lives, and we strive to advance new forms of interdisciplinary knowledge. As well as hosting this annual conference, which of course you're all at today, we also host monthly researcher meetings, which will be resuming after the conference. These meetings involve discussions around different BI+ topics, presentations from BI+ researchers, and reading groups where we discuss the latest BI+ research, all with the aim of facilitating knowledge sharing and knowledge production. If you're interested in getting involved in our future events, then you can follow us on Twitter at Bisexual Science and on Instagram at Bisexual Research. We have a really exciting day planned for you today with over 60 speakers, including poets, activists, creatives, and researchers from 5 continents. We're expecting almost 500 people to attend across the course of the day from across the world, and so this really is an international conference and an international bisexual community that we are building right here today. Yesterday was, of course, Bisexual Visibility Day. Bi Visibility Day has been marked every year since 1999 and is now celebrated in more than 30 countries. It is a day for increasing the visibility of bisexuality and pansexuality and raising awareness of the challenges BI+ people face, of course, including bi erasure. It's no coincidence that today's conference is so close to Bi Visibility Day. We have chosen this date because through this conference, we aim to increase the visibility of bisexuality and to combat bi erasure and, of course, to celebrate bisexuality. I'd now like to hand over to the founder of the Bisexual Research Group, Dr. Julia Shaw. Julia is a psychological scientist at University College London and is the author of multiple best-selling books. She is also a BBC science communicator and is best known for her work in the areas of false memory, bisexuality, and criminal psychology. In the summer of 2022, her 3rd book, Bi: The Hidden Culture, History and Science of Bisexuality, was published. This is an eye-opening, rigorous, and personal exploration of sexuality. Based on the book, Dr. Julia Shaw co-hosted the BBC podcast Bi People, which I recommend that you watch if you listen to, if you haven't already, with the comedian Sophie Hagen, which is a 4-part Pride Month spin-off of their hit BBC podcast Bad People. And I'll now hand over to Julia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a delight to see all of you and to see how many people are already here. Thank you for getting up if it's a ridiculous hour for you. I mean, frankly, it's even a ridiculous hour in the UK, and because it's before 9, for me at least. So thank you all for being here. As introduced, I'm Julia, and I basically wrote this book, which also is this book, same book, US, UK, because of or through the help of everybody who was part of this research group, certainly in the early days, and going into that conference. So I founded the research group because there seemed to be, at the time, I didn't know how many bi researchers there were. And I think actually some bi researchers also didn't know how many bi researchers there were, because it was difficult to find each other. And so I put out a shout out to say, hey, where is everybody? And a couple of people immediately responded to my tweet, which was amazing. And some of those people are here today. And then it sort of snowballed and people started joining, and more people from around the world started joining, saying, hey, I'm doing research as well. And I think the most beautiful thing about this group is how multidisciplinary it is. So there's so many people, I mean, from film studies to health studies to psychology, of course, and sociology and gender studies and just history, whatever you can think of, there's probably representation of that particular field, at least one person probably here. And the nice thing about this is that being able to find each other and see each other, and as was said earlier, have that knowledge exchange, that's, I think, where there's a particular strength, because it's in isolation that we know also psychologically that people struggle. And a lot of us can feel like we're the only ones. We're sort of separate from the queer groups that maybe other queer identities are more commonly part of. And so having that as an experience as a bi person, but you can also have that as an experience as a bi researcher, and sort of that gets doubled, because you're having it within your academic context and potentially in your personal context. And so hopefully this group allows people to get both. So you have a community of other bi people. Of course, not all bi research or researchers who do bi plus research are themselves bisexual, but most are. And so it's sort of it's both at once, which I think for me certainly was an absolute revelation. And I thank all of the researchers here. I don't call myself a bi researcher. I don't think I am. I just get to be sort of an observer and absorb all of what you wonderful humans are doing. So thank you for all your work researching bisexuality. If, like me, you're here to learn, that is totally great as well. Expect some of the conversations to maybe be quite academic if you're not used to that, but I'm sure everyone will be able to answer your questions in the sort of afterwards, and just make sure that if you do have things that you're not understanding, ask each other, ask the presenters, or try to meet up with them afterwards, online or in real life. Also follow people you see today. So when you see interesting people presenting their work, go follow them, go look up their studies if you can, and get sort of that depth that you might not otherwise have gotten without this conference. I'm so excited. I'm also excited because yesterday, I'm sure for quite a lot of you as well, was such a wonderful day. I think Bi Visibility Day, because it's grown and because the online communities have really embraced this day and really share their love for each other on this day. I certainly felt I'm coming out with that sort of love drunk feeling of, oh, there's so many of us. And I'm hoping that you can also carry that feeling into today and really remember to give each other space and remember to appreciate each other, because this is such a rare experience to have this kind of conference. It's in fact the second ever conference like this. There have been previous bisexuality conferences, most notably BICON in the UK, for example, and of course in the US there have also been various groups, and in Europe and around the world. But this one is particularly international and particularly research focused, which as an academic I particularly like. So other than that, in terms of things that are exciting and coming up, I think, again, watching people's research, asking them questions. I'm particularly interested in some of the research on bi-visibilities, for example. The nice thing about this conference is it really goes into specific aspects of things. So it gives you really strong whys. I often get asked sort of why again, these books why they're so research heavy, and they're not supposed to be heavy books, but they're certainly supposed to be filled with research. And the reason is that I think it really gives people the foundations upon which they can make really strong arguments to fight for bi+ rights and to make sure that the world over change is elicited, so that we can make sure that for ourselves, but also for others who don't have voices in this regard for various reasons, we can build a slightly better world. And you often need facts and statistics and research in order to back up the things that you've potentially experienced yourself, but are stronger if you say, also, there's all this research, there's this body of knowledge, this international body of knowledge that I can draw on and point at. So in the book, I was trying to do it as sort of an encyclopedia of that, but also, again, not to advertise the book too much, but it's certainly in it. There's also, you can go through all the researchers, many of whom are here, and then dig into their research. So it's supposed to be almost the entryway into all this other stuff. I've been also pleased to see that even in the sort of months that it's been published, there's been more bi books. There's not that many nonfiction books, but there's a couple. And I mean, there's been autobiographical books, there's been some fiction books. There really seems to be a push right now to get bi visibility onto our shelves and onto our screens, at least in the English-speaking world. And that is incredibly exciting. So there's a book coming out, for example, called Bi Men Exist, which is going to be one of the first sort of more recent books on bisexual men. Because sure, bi men were the early researchers, or men in general were researchers, like Fritz Klein, Kinsey, of course, and Havelock Ellis. Those are all men, not all of whom are bi, of course, only one, as far as I know, is bi. And so sort of for almost 100 years, sexuality research was entirely done by men. And then the last 30 years, it seems like, especially on plurisexuality, on the sort of bi+ identities, it's been almost entirely or largely female. And so I'm hoping that there'll be more men and more people of diverse backgrounds who are now able to join the conversation as well. And if you are from those diverse backgrounds, or if you are a man, I would particularly encourage you to, if you can, join the conversation, because we really, really want to hear what you have to say. So that's it from me. I hope you really enjoyed today. And as I said, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, and I will be popping in and out of sessions and just lurking in the background, soaking up all the knowledge. Enjoy today.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for such a wonderful beginning to this year's conference. And thank you, of course, for funding the Bisexual Research Group in the first place. Next, I would like to introduce Noam Mizhari, who is going to share with us their wonderful poem, which is called Bi, a Spoken Word Poem. Noam is an Israeli bisexual activist and aspiring academic. She is currently in her final year of a psychology and gender studies BA at Tel Aviv University. They also work at the Israeli LGBT+ Research Center, admin the National Bisexuality Online Community, and volunteer in a number of LGBT+ organizations. Her aim is to educate on bi+ issues both inside and outside the queer community using academia, art, and advocacy. So Noam, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's really exciting to be here. I wrote the poem I'm going to read to you today about 4 years ago. I lived in London between the ages of 4 and 8 because of my dad's work. Not enough to be granted citizenship, but enough for the accent to stick. At age 20, I came to visit London on a tourist visa, and I found a freedom I hadn't known possible. This poem was my goodbye from London when that tourist visa expired. And it goes like this. I have a confession to make. I'm bilingual. The two tongues eternally twirl, internally tumble, and I find myself fumbling for words, not infrequently. My eager attempt at eloquence is often nothing short of overcompensation. I feel the need to Google translate words in almost every conversation. In summation, it's a polyglot's frustration when encountering the inclination to give in to temptation and, on occasion, throw in a casual, colorful, which definitely does not allude to any of your mother's private parts. I'm bilingual, and I'm tongue-tied, umbilically tethered to a tiny torrid territory I call Habaita, yet unequivocally connected to this captivating country I've come to call a home. There's no place like home, because how is it possible for a home to be a place when a house is impossibly easy to replace? I've lived in 15 houses, and they've all been homes. You see, when my nuclear family split, we decided we are not an isotope, we are a cell. And as my houses doubled, every cardiovascular membrane did as well. I'm bisexual. In fact, I'm pansexual, polyamorous, aplatonic, and proud. I love how I love, and I'll say it out loud just as long as the language allows for it. My mother tongue does not take too kindly to queers. She's shackled to tradition, her vocabulary bound to binaries, so they cannot be. My heart sinks every time she shrinks gender down to he or she. When I came out, my mother's tongue called me a slut, said I'll settle down someday, and when I select a someone, all this nonsense will subside, but I'd rather stay. Where practicality doesn't strip me of a part of me, where I don't lose a language every time I look away. I'm tired of lexical gaps. I'm tired of words that just one language lacks. I wish I could have all of both all the time, both my parents, both houses, both countries. I wish both could feel fully mine. I wish going home wasn't leaving as well. I wish each hello didn't bode an impending farewell. I wish that I actually wished that my heart weren't so full of love, full of words, full of the craving to know, full to the brim, full with the option to grow. Hello, this is me, the only person I'll ever know how to be, saying bye.
Thank you, Noam, for this wonderful poem and for your energy bringing us into this day. So before kicking off the first round of panels for this very packed day of BIPLAS research, knowledge, and experiences, I would like to spend some minutes on useful and practical info. So it's the housekeeping moment. So firstly, let me remind you of Zoom netiquette. I know that we have all been very much into Zoom lately, but please mute your microphones when you're not actively speaking and control the background noise to the best of your ability. Our code of conduct has a zero tolerance policy for any sort of discrimination and hateful language, so please be mindful of the language you're adopting during the event. We encourage all the participants, speakers, and attendees to put their preferred pronouns in their Zoom names and to speak with inclusive language. If you encounter any sort of issue during the day, or if you would like just to chat a bit, pop into the lobby chat where there will be someone ready to help you. If you don't already follow us on social media, please do. Our handles are @bisexualscience, and the conference hashtag is IBRC22, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. So we encourage you all to live tweet during the conference and to tag us in your posts. Help us spread some exciting bisexual research today. For the speakers, please remember that we have a very packed schedule with over 60 people intervening during the day. So please be respectful of your time allotment and test your mic and video before you talk. You all have the possibility to share a PowerPoint with the audience during your panels and workshops. The Zoom events platforms allows you to favorite the sessions you want to see, so they will show up in your personal itinerary. After each session closes, you'll be redirected to the lobby, and then you'll have to re-enter your next session of choice by clicking on it. In the chat, you'll find a link, several links actually, but one also to the complete schedule for the day. Be mindful that on multiple occasions, panels run simultaneously, but we will be recording the sessions. So if you will later want to catch up with the panels or talks that you missed, you'll have further opportunities to do so. We'll upload them on our YouTube channel as soon as we can. One last thing. I am pleased to list all the wonderful keynote speakers who will discuss their work with us in 1 hour long talks during the day. Afsa Qureshi, Shiri Eisner, Christian Klesse, Zori Paul, Rosie Nelson, Monica Gabriel, and Mary Kenny. So it is my greatest pleasure to conclude this first segment of the International Bisexuality Research Conference. See you in a moment for the first round of panels for the day, researching BIPLAS populations or bi visibility and invisibility. Enjoy your BIPLAS day.